Almost everyone who plays Skyrim feels the call to come back, but who's the voice behind the call? I think it's this feeling. You know, this feeling. This feeling is great. We all love it. It's familiar. But there's one big problem. The second that I hit the quit button, the feeling vanishes. So I've been thinking, what if there were a way to capture that feeling, to turn it into something I can take out and look at anytime I'd like? For centuries, art has served that need. It captures the fleeting moment. It immortalizes it. And luckily for me, I'm a bit of an artist myself. So today we're boots on the ground hunting for that feeling. And when we find that feeling, I'm gonna put it in a painting. I'm sure that from the way that I phrased the intro, it kind of sounded like I didn't really have a direction for this, that I was blindly hunting. But in truth, I've actually had this idea in my head since I thought of the project. For this painting, I want to capture the idea of the beginning, that sense of adventure that you get right when you start the game. And I'm not going in the direction of the wagon intro. Instead, I want to take it from the angle of when the game actually starts. The tutorial portion of the game has become a little bit of a slog for me over the years just because I've done it so many times. And for me, that first wave of excitement when I start playing the game again is when I step out of the cave from Helgen Keep and all of Skyrim is before me. So we're heading back up to the cave and hopefully we'll get a reference from there. On the road between Riverwood and Helgen, I got a little distracted by a really pretty view, and for a split second, I was tempted to abandon my original idea and go down this rabbit hole, but I decided that it would be better to stick to my guns, or my ancient Nord bow, if you're putting it in Skyrim terms. Putting it in Skyrim terms, would we? I lost my train of thought. But I do want to revisit that reference if I get the chance, and if you guys are interested, I do have a gigantic canvas shoved under my couch that I could absolutely pull out for this. Upon resuming my travels, I bumped into a few stray travelers. Some of them seem to be having better days than others. Okay. If you haven't noticed it already, I'm gonna go ahead and point it out. There are a couple discrepancies with the lighting of this video. That's because I actually went back and looked on the footage of me finding my reference and realized that it was terrible to watch. So I retook some of it, and some of the lighting is a little bit different. When I got to the cave, I actually found that there was a bit of roadkill contributing to the scenery. Is that a rat? It's a dog. Like, no offense, but you're not very, Okay. If anyone happens to know the reason that the dog is there, I would love to know, because I have never seen that before, and it honestly kind of freaks me out. Like, is that a glitch that happens all the time, or am I just the first person to ever find the dead Helgen dog? So after climbing on top of the cave, I actually ended up finding a composition that I really liked, and I'm super excited to paint. Remember, we have to account for the two different versions, so this is the one that I'm actually going to be painting today. Don't get me wrong, I love a good sunset, but I really wanted to go with the cool colors that you see when you first step out of the cave. Alright, we've got our reference, let's get painting. I started this process off very strong by accidentally recording myself eating my lunch and watching a Fizzy video.
More than a handful in the comment sections of previous Skyrim videos uploaded on this channel.
Which, while I'm talking about him, definitely go check him out if you haven't already. I'm not usually a Skyrim video essay girly. I feel like they're getting really dry. We've just had too many years of the game being out, and we're kind of all searching for scraps at this point. I feel like you've got people like, but who is the true heir to the throne? To find that answer, I read every book in the game 3 times while standing on my head, and I found out that it's actually the Jarl's niece's pet fish's daughter's neighbor's cousin. And it's either that or a 2-hour video talking about who's right in the Civil War conflict, which obviously we already know the answer to that. Glory to the Empire. Grievances with Skyrim commentary aside, I actually want to tell you guys where I got the inspiration for this project. When I want to paint something, usually I'll drag my husband on a hike, take a few photos, and if I find something that really speaks to me, I'll paint it. 9 times out of 10, the stuff that appeals to me looks like it fell straight out of Skyrim. Last semester, I had an assignment from my color theory class that required me to paint plein air, which if you're not an art nerd means outside, touching grass. I thought it was a fun assignment, it'd switch things up a little bit, but the problem is that I live in literal Gotham City, city, and I refuse to go anywhere without my husband. He's got a big boy job. He's like employed or whatever. So my hiking buddy was booked. And my apartment building doesn't really have any outside common areas, so I was pretty much housebound. So my solution was to crack the window and sit by it while I did my artwork. Is that a cop-out? Absolutely. And I felt so guilty about it that I ended up writing in my discussion post that I just ended up skipping out because I couldn't find a place to go outside. The funniest part about that story is that the professor still gave me a perfect A, despite me not at all doing what she assigned us to do. I guess the open window was good enough. But the color theory fiasco got me thinking about how, as much inspiration as I draw from nature, I really don't tend to go out there very often. I can't imagine bringing a giant canvas in the middle of the woods and possibly having to have social interaction. Like, that's my worst nightmare. I'm too introverted for all that. And I'm honestly pretty particular about my environment when I'm painting. I'm a little bit of a baby. I need access to running water. I need my spray bottle for my palette. And I need a good cup of chai in my humble snail mug. The snmug, as I like to call it. I did actually take the time to include that in the video because I thought it was that important. So here's that. Okay, it's day 3. I've got my snail mug primed. Oh yeah. I'm also doing extremely detailed work like this. So I think you can understand why I'd rather do that in my house. So I started thinking, how funny would it be for me to essentially plein air paint, but in a video game? Like, that's the least touch grass thing I've ever heard of in my life. And honestly, Skyrim was a perfect shoe-in. Like, I wasn't gonna go with any other game. So I kind of poked around on YouTube and I realized that there's a little bit of a gap where people don't really make a whole lot of Skyrim art anymore. It probably has something to do with the game being 15 years old now, but I still love it, and I know there are a lot of other people out there that do too. I don't know, I just think it's a fun project. And I really did have so much fun doing this. My absolute favorite things to paint are clouds and skies and trees and mountains, so everything you would find in a Skyrim painting. It was just really fun. I really want to look into finding some sunsets or sunrises because I think that those colors would be a lot of fun to work with. And I don't even know if this video is gonna find anybody, but if it does, I do have an Instagram. I'll throw it up on the screen. It's got 3 followers. I am famous. And if any of you guys want to send in your favorite screenshots, I would love to see them. And maybe I'll even paint a few of them. Alrighty, that's a wrap on the shameless self-promotion. I'll put the fries in the bag, the sweet roll in the bucket, the ale in the tankard. Okay, I'm done. No. Don't worry, I painted over that. Now clearly we're reaching the end of this project, and I would like to say that I do intend on going outside at some point, maybe. This seems like a reasonable substitute though, maybe I'll just keep doing this. No, seriously though, I cannot wait for summertime. I'm ready for it to warm up, it's so cold right now. Being outside really helps me to organize my thoughts, it helps me connect with God. And honestly, a verse that comes to mind so often when I'm out there is Psalm 8:3-4. It says, "When I consider your heavens and the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars which you have ordained, what is man that you are mindful of him, and the son of man that you visit him?" It's just a cool thought, something that's been rattling around in my head. And honestly, it kind of reflects the way that I feel when I'm traveling Skyrim, you know? It's like I'm walking around this huge world and I feel so small. Am I making this look easy? Anyways, that's all that I have to show you today. I hope you thought it was cool. I always love seeing art about the things that I love the most. Let me know if you guys want to see the painting that I was talking about. I just feel like I found a new rabbit hole to fall down into, and I'm super excited to see where it leads. Make sure to sub, because for every 1 subscriber I gain...
Do you get to the Cloud District very often? Oh, what am I saying? Of course you don't.
I reload my save and show Nazim the real Cloud District. And by that, I mean the pearly gates. Okay, bye.